It's time to accelerate. Hey friends, this is Andy. Welcome to episode 546 of Accelerate, the sales podcast of record, where I hold in-depth conversations with today's leading experts in sales, marketing, and leadership 6 days a week. Now, as part of our new Sunday programming, we're digging into our archives to bring you one of our most popular episodes from the past, and we've measured that popularity as measured by the number of listeners that download and listen to this particular episode. So today we're listening to one of the more popular episodes from my show within a show. That's right. That's my Frontline Friday episodes, where each week I'm joined by my regular and special co-host, Bridget Gleason, and we talk about all things sales. And in this particular conversation, which is titled Keep Your Sales as Simple as Possible, we really talk about one specific topic, which is, are we overcomplicating sales? And if yes, we are, then what can we do about it? Because simple is better. Now, friends, we also hit a sales slowdown from time to time, and oftentimes sellers default to the notion that the solution is more structure and more process, more complicated, as Bridget and I were talking about today's episode. So sometimes you need to try some new ideas to break out of the doldrums and to sell up to your potential. So if you're looking for some new ideas about how to amp up and accelerate your sales, then you need to read the new report that I put together just for you. It's based on the specific recommendations about tactics and strategies that I got from more than 300 experts I personally interviewed on this program. And I compiled that all together into a practical step-by-step guide that you can use to accelerate your sales today. So don't wait. Go to accelerate.fm/accelerate to get your free copy today of my new report. All right, let's hear Bridget and me talk about keeping your sales as simple as possible. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Frontline Fridays. I'm your host, Andy Paul, with my very special guest, Bridget Gleason. Say hi, Bridget.
Are you going to ask how I'm doing? Or do you get tired of the answer? You get tired of the answer because I always have the same answer.
Well, okay, I'll do it. So how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
It wasn't a fantastic, though.
I'm doing, I know. Well, I'm trying to change it up.
Well,
but
no,
I am
it's
doing
fantastic. It's fantastic. I was just reading something, gosh, I think it was yesterday or the day before. Somebody talking about, how do they put themselves in the right mindset? They're considered to be very positive and optimistic. And in this one person's case, it was, I wake up every morning and think, wow, this is just a fantastic day. And that gets them smiling. Just saying the word fantastic causes you to smile.
Oh, that's good.
And this is how they start their day. It gives them a real charge from the get-go. I like it.
That's great. I think how we start our day just can definitely set the tone for the entire day. So I tend to wake up happy anyway. I love morning.
Because you run.
I run or just whatever. I just like morning. So I'm always excited to get up in the morning.
And now that you're spending more time in Boston, are you getting up and still running at 4:30 in the morning?
Yeah, but I've been, it's been cold here. There's a gym in my building, so
the dreaded treadmill.
I'm not, and I hate the treadmill. Yeah. But I listen to books or I'll, watch the news. So I try to make the best of it, and I'm thankful that I have a place to go, that I'm not out in 17 degrees and running in that. So it's all good. It'll be warm here before you know it.
It'll be warm. See, things are fantastic.
They are fantastic.
Right. Now, running on treadmills. Can we talk about that for a second?
Sure.
I understand. I live mostly on the East Coast, and during the winter, I'll run on treadmill if it's too cold outside, though I love running in the snow. But I know I have friends that live in sunny Southern California that only run on treadmills. And I'm like, dude, out there.
I know. I'm the same way. And I know lots of people that do that too, that it's beautiful weather and they're still in a gym. That's just not that's not who I am. Yeah.
The one that kills me is we spend a lot of time in Hawaii every year, and one place we stay, we go to the gym in the morning. We've gone out and done our own run, my wife and I, or I'll run, and these days, unfortunately, she's walking. But we'll go afterwards to the gym, and the treadmills are completely full. Here it's on Kauai or Maui or even sometimes Honolulu. It's 72 degrees outside, not a cloud in the sky, or even if there's a cloud in the sky, it's still gorgeous. And people are running on the treadmills. I I don't get it.
I don't get that either.
Okay.
I couldn't do that.
Not really a sales issue, but you know.
What's our sales issue for today?
Well, you know, it's we could talk about, are we overcomplicating sales? Are we overcomplicating our selling processes? And I was sort of given reason to think about this. I mean, it's a topic I think about a lot, that is, as I write and talk to groups and work with companies, is, you know, I hear this quite a bit. I'm not an absolute believer in sales process, but is it taking over, right? Are we forgetting sort of the basics that really make things happen? And we've talked in the past about the importance of this human connection. In fact, our last episode, we talked about making the connection, the importance of that connection. But I wonder, like I said, we're just forgetting the things that really make sales happen. And the quote that triggered the thought is, for me, if people don't know this, they're listening, Bridget, you know, I'm a big soccer fan. And so at the time of recording this, the U.S. men's national soccer team is resuming World Cup qualifying matches. And there's a new coach, was Bruce Arena, who had previously been the coach of the men's team back in the early 2000s, and brought him in to take over for a coach they let go. And there was an interview published with him, and the coach said he couldn't name a soccer book that influenced him. I thought, that's interesting. He says, you know, for him, how much can you know about the game?
How much do I know? Are you asking?
That's what he's saying. So hypothetically, how much can you know about the game? Where for him, the thing that's really important are just really the fundamentals. You know, managing people, motivating, you know, helping motivate players, putting them in the right positions, you know, making sure that they're, you know, over communicating with them, make sure they completely understand what their responsibilities are. So they've got an unambiguous understanding of what their responsibilities are, what they should be doing when, and so on. And I started thinking about that. It's because I've been writing about this a little bit. Yeah, we can focus all we want on the process, and we're going through, I think, a phase in sales now where, at least you look at the writing that people are doing, the books published, there's a lot about process being written, and we've got the whole account-based marketing thing going on, which is all relatively process-driven. You know, we sort of losing sight of the real fundamentals that, at the end of the day, are what influence people to make decisions to do business with you.
So what would you like to see, Andy? What would you see or read, or there be a prevalence of, that would indicate that we are back to the fundamentals?
What would I like to see?
I'm just wondering what.
I was talking to my son, who people again who don't know who works for me, helped produce this program, and I was thinking, gosh, wouldn't it be great if we may do this with the show, is put on a series of episodes for some period of time where we're teaching people about sales, but we never really talk about selling. And that's sort of the point, I think, right? Is, you know, I sort of a love-hate relationship with sales books. I mean, I read them.
You write them.
I write them, for one. Two is I read them.
Okay, so don't be too harsh on them. Don't be too harsh on the myself. Genre.
Right. And I've, you know, perhaps read as many, if not more, than anybody else in the world, because I'm interviewing sales authors constantly. And I do read the books of the authors that come on the show. And I always learn something. But when I go back and look at the things I learn, it's not big concepts I'm learning that are really important, that are transforming. There's always, you know, the gold always comes from the small stuff. You know, how do you create strong first impressions? How do you know, we can sort of go through sort of the basics, right? Creating strong first impressions, being nice, listening twice as much as you talk, paying attention, you know, delivering value on every touch, asking great questions, listening without judgment. I mean, those are the things that really move the needle, in my estimation, when you're dealing with prospects. but we seem to lose focus on those.
The things, and again, like you, I don't typically read anything that's, oh my God, I hadn't thought of it. But sometimes it's a story that's told, or it's a reminder of something that happens to resonate with a particular situation that I'm currently in. So it may just be timely, a good timely reminder. I don't mind them, though. I guess I don't feel as offended by the genre.
Well, I'm not offended by it. I'm just saying at all, because I'm in the midst of writing my next one. But it's I think that, how often have you read a success story about sales? And maybe you have. I haven't. Or, again, because I talk to hundreds of people every year and ask about success stories. It's never about, it was our sales process that won the day. It was it's this conversation I had. It was this great question I asked that illuminated something for the buyer that turned the corner, right? That made the difference. It was always the person-to-person part of it that really was decisive, as opposed to, in our playbook, we've got this play, and this play slays it every time.
Yeah, I guess maybe I think about, it's the, it's not the process, but the process is sort of fundamental still. Like, I think that I think the process is still important, but I almost feel like the process those are table stakes. Those you have to have. But what the differentiators are the things that you're talking about that are perhaps more nuanced.
Right. And I'm just basically reacting to what I hear from people I interview and the books I read about, process is paramount. And I agree, process is really important. You need to understand your process, be trained to your process. But at the end of the day, it's still a person talking to a person.
100%.
So an analogy could be, and this, spare me if people don't want to hear another sports analogy. But I was thinking about golf, and I'm not a great golfer. I enjoy golfing. I rarely get a chance to do it, but there was a time in my life where I used to do it more frequently. And I took lessons at one point in time. And I remember from the pro is, we're working on all the mechanics of a swing, but at the end of the day, he was saying, it's all about the club face being square upon impact with the ball. And, you look at the swings of, I think back on, on TV, if you watch golf and you look at the various professional golfers, their swings are not all copycat images of each other. There's some have pretty unique backswings, but, clearly they get the club face square on impact. And so it's like, that is an enduring fundamental. And, that just doesned change. The technology, we've had all this advances in technology and golf, all these new composites and club head changes and so on that have made it easier to swing a golf club, made it more forgiving when you hit the golf ball. But it all comes down to still the same thing, as if you're going to succeed more, at least from tee to green, that club face needs to be square on impact. And I was sort of thinking about that in sales terms. What's the equivalent of being square on impact, right? Where it's really, if you have one swing thought, that's the one you're trying to get to. Yeah,
and maybe like golf, that's a primary thing. But God, there's a lot more in golf. I've played golf. There's a lot more than that.
Sure.
In order to have a good game. And I think in sales also that there are those certain fundamentals. And in some ways, I guess they bear repeating. We get, just maybe like in golf, if I were to pick up golf again now, I haven't played in a couple of years, I would benefit from lessons. I would benefit from reminders. I would benefit from just lessons in the fundamentals. And maybe that's your point, that all the other new ways of how I might approach golf are not as relevant as some of just the basic varied, this is what you need to do to have a good swing, to make sure you hit the balls straight and far. And I agree, sales is not so dissimilar. There are some fundamentals that actually don't change.
Well, I was thinking of the French proverb that everybody seems to quote. If maybe the only French a lot of people know other than merci is plus ça change, plus c'est la même chose, right? The more things change, the more it's the same thing. Or the more things change, the more they stay the same. And to me, that's a testament to a certain unchangeability of the human experience, right? That for all the change we're introducing into our lives by technology, there's still a fundamental sameness to us as humans and how we interact with each other. That, unfortunately, in my case, when I look at sales teams and what they're doing and how they could improve, they seem to be sort of intent on forgetting this, as if technology is going to save us.
Technology won't save us. Tools won't save us. Process won't save us. I mean, none of that will save us.
What will save us?
Andy, you and I talked about it in the last podcast. I think it goes back to that. It does go back to that relationship. And are you able to develop this connection and trust and integrity and these things that people buy from people? People buy from people. And so when I think about just when I'm buying something, oftentimes the back of my head, I think, am I going to get ripped off? How's the quality? Can I trust this person? Can I trust this company? Do they do what they say they're going to do? There are all these questions in my mind. And if I'll pay more, I'll buy faster with people when I just feel like, you know what? I trust you. I trust you to do it. I don't even care what the price is. I trust you. It doesn't have to be perfect. I optimize around trust, and studies that I've read have indicated that I'm in the majority. That's one thing people want to deal with a company and a person and a brand that they can trust.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that's so fundamental that if you don't make that connection, now we're starting to go back on the topic we talked about last time, but bears repeating is if you can't make that trust-based connection, you're not going anywhere.
Right. And maybe it goes back to what we talked about last time, but it also is a fundamental. Mm-hmm. What are the fundamentals?
Well, I've got a new acronym for the fundamentals. You want to hear it? So the acronym is BALD, B-A-L-D. I'm not sure it's a great mindset to have, but
well, I don't think you want to have that mindset. You're not bald, thankfully.
I don't care.
But you don't want to go bald. Okay, you don't care.
I wouldn't care. Yeah, I'm not.
B-A-L-D.
As I whack my microphone here. B-A-L-D. So, B, be present. A, ask great questions.
That's good.
L, listen without judgment. D, deliver value.
I love that.
BALD. That's the fundamentals right there.
Listen without I'm writing these down. This is great, Andy. So be present, ask great questions.
Listen without judgment.
So be present, ask great questions, listen without judgment, deliver value. Love it.
Bald. Are you bald?
I want to be bald.
I want to be bald.
I want to be bald. I love that. That's good. I think you should include that in your next book on the fundamentals.
It's going
called
in.
Be Bald. Bald. That's a good thing to have on the front cover. People won't expect that.
Yeah. We'll have to think about that. That wasn't what I was changing the title, but I mean, I wasn't thinking for a title, but that could be the subtitle.
Be bald. Bald. I don't know.
How to be bald in life and in sales.
Okay, you work with your publisher on that. I'm not sure how that title will go, and let's leave it to the experts. I don't want to be responsible if it goes well or if it bombs.
I'll put that in my book proposal for publishers. Bridget says.
Bridget's right. Here are her recommendations.
Yeah.
No, I like that, Andy. Be present. Ask great questions. Listen without judgment. Deliver value. Those are fantastic. Really good.
Yeah, I think the one that people have the hardest time with, maybe there's two. I'd certainly be present is one that we've talked about. We'll talk about it again, how sellers are so easily distracted these days. But be present, ask great questions. It's the listen without judgment. We are creatures of pattern, right? So we want to, when we talk to someone, we want them to be like something else that we've experienced in the past. So it helps us more quickly comprehend who they are. So we want to match them to a pattern that we know. We talk about, putting people into boxes or putting them into niches. And when you do that without listening to what people are saying, you miss a lot. And you miss the opportunity to really hear what it is their challenges are, their aspirations, the problems, their goals, where they want to be, what you can do to help them. So this listening without judgment is really critical.
Well, and it's also just listening without, I think a lot of salespeople don't listen. They don't listen without jumping to a conclusion or just wanting to jump in with a solution. Yeah.
Well, and so this pattern thing, and there's lots of words where people talk about confirmation bias, right? So when we hear something, read something, see something, we think about it in a way that to make it conform or confirm to the bias or the opinion that we already hold, right? So when we talk to a buyer, it's like, oh yeah, they're just like this other company I spoke to. But they're not. Everybody's different. I mean, ultimately you may find out they're roughly the same, but you're not going to know until you ask great questions and listen without judgment to understand the value you have to deliver to help them make their decision.
It's fantastic. I love that. I'm going to use that. I won't plagiarize, but I will share.
Yeah, as long as you've got my, registered trademark next to it, that's fine.
Okay.
and the attribution.
Okay. Just in every conversation. All right.
Every conversation, you just have to say, excuse me just a second. I just want to make sure you understand this is a registered trademark
of Andy Paul.
Right.
And please come listen to our podcast while you're at it.
And please come listen to our podcast if you want more insights like this. So
that's right.
Well, Bridget, I'm glad I was able to make one serious contribution today.
A fantastic contribution. It was a great way to wrap it up for today. I love that one, Andy. I'm taking that one with me.
Okay. Well, good. All right. Excellent. Well, if you're out there listening to us today, which I hope you are, you've come back week after week, you too, learn something new today. Really appreciate you taking the time. If you have just a minute, less than a minute, go to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you listen to this podcast, subscribe, leave a review. We really appreciate it. And we'll look forward to talking to you next time. So this is Andy Paul with
Bridget Gleason,
who is my regular guest on Frontline Fridays. Good selling, everyone. We'll talk to you next week.
Take care.
Thanks for listening to the show. If you like what you heard and want to make sure you don't miss any upcoming episodes, please subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or Stitcher.com. For more information about today's guest, visit my website at andypaul.com.